And fears about John Birchers was often because of conspiracy theories. And then he added, but a lot of those conspiracies have since come true. I'll leave it to you to decide. But one thing has been proven with how the Obama, Biden, and other leftists, Marxists, weaponize the DOJ, the FBI, the IRS, other federal agencies against our own citizens. That's not a theory. The proof is right in front of you.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Great patio season to enjoy any of the Cafe Napoli locations. How about the Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield? Enjoying coal-fired pizza, nothing else like it. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. A few doors down, Lit Cigar Lounge, where you can enjoy premium cigars and whiskeys. Check the Lit Cigar Lounge Facebook for details, plus gift cards for friends. I'll see you at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield. John Beal knows that right after a hailstorm, new roofing companies start popping up everywhere. But the Small Business Administration reports 96% of them go out of business within the first 5 years. So how good is that warranty? John Beal started in the roofing business, helping his granddad and his dad. Always offering the best roof, best price, best guarantee. John Beal Roofing, not some fly-by-the-night operation. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Give me land, lots of land under starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose, let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL, and I can tell that this is going to be a fun day, a fancy Friday. You got to know, because I walk into the studio and there on the television screen is President Trump in the Oval Office wearing this big red hat that says Trump was right about everything. I mean, when have we ever seen this kind of jocularity and this kind of breeziness? This kind of relaxation. He's announcing, of course, that we're going to be hosting the World Cup, which is pretty cool. But I mean, this is like, it couldn't get any better. And it's only noon. But actually, it got really great. The morning started really well. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
And around corners, its deadly foam fills cracks and crevices to kill hidden roaches dead.
Right! That's what happened to John Bolton this morning. And I'll tell you one thing that you got to know, and you must remember, is that John Bolton actually really does. He likes raids. John Bolton is a raid lover. And I'll tell you why and how I know that. Because if you just go back into the past and you look at some of the wonderful, crazy things that have been said in the past, you'll know that John Bolton himself was a big fan of the Mar-a-Lago raid. And what's crazy is that Bolton, in some way, shape, or form, and I got to tell you, this guy, I believe that the raid really, in the end, was a raid that was designed in many ways to grab some information about some other people. That's really what this was all about. And so they're looking for documents, and I'm telling you what, it appears that it's not only that they want documents that possibly show John Bolton committing a crime, but they're also wanting documents that show somebody else committing a crime. And they want other names that are on these particular documents that they are seeking. But, oh, look, this is John Bolton right after the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago. He was very, very happy. He's a raid supporter.
Any given moment. But I don't think he cared about the classification system. I don't think he appreciated the sensitivity of this information, and he didn't appreciate the sensitivity of how it was often acquired, the so-called sources and methods. So this had been briefed to him before I arrived. It was repeated frequently. I think it simply had no impact on him whatever.
This is the famous John Bolton appearance on MSNBC, which showed him to be giddy about the Mar-a-Lago raid. And this is his big "no one is above the law" speech.
A couple of different ways that people think about this, and people who are not friendly to the president, who think about what's happened here. And one of them is, Donald Trump, master thief, criminal, running some kind of elaborate conspiracy to bring things out of the White House and keep them secret for potentially for political or financial gain. There are other people who attitude is Trump is chaotic. He's careless. He's not that smart. He took these things almost by mistake, and now he's basically stamping his feet and saying they're mine. I don't want to give them up.
Yeah, and it's interesting because what they're going to find is that John Bolton did not take these documents by mistake. He stole them.
Give me a sense of where you think the truth lies with respect to Trump's intelligence, carelessness, and the degree to which he might have brought motive to bear on taking these documents out of the White House and keeping them for this long at Mar-a-Lago.
Well, it's very hard to speculate on motive other than that he liked cool things. He saw things so he wanted to take them, and he was pretty much able to take them, and not just on classified information matters, on all kinds of things that crossed his desk. Some days he liked to eat a lot of French fries. Some days he took classified documents. He wanted them. Why did he want them? Because he could get them.
Yeah. And no one is above the law, said John Bolton at the time. Well, it turns out that John Bolton is not above the law. I said earlier this week, and I really am serious about this. And I think this is the beginning of what we were hoping for. And that is an Abraham Lincoln-like 1961 purge of the rebellion. Now, obviously, he canceled out habeas corpus, whatever. That's not even required here. But what is required is a President Lincoln-like approach to rebellion, and that is arrests, incarcerations, and tribunals. And this was during a time when President Lincoln was attempting to stop a civil war from happening. And the only way he figured he could do it was by making sure that the rebellious leaders, the leaders of the rebellion, were taken out. And so they were going state by state, whatever by whatever, and seizing these people. This is a kind of a mini version of what Lincoln did in 1861, and it absolutely is necessary, because in order for us to move on and in order for us to be able to continue, especially the America First agenda, we have to start either electorally removing people, that's pretty easy to do, and then arresting and prosecuting the people who are making efforts underneath it all to take away our freedoms in a variety of ways, whether it be through stolen elections or whether it be through a situation where they are, in many cases, undermining President Trump, endangering our national security. whatever. So this is really an important time, and I think Bolton is just the beginning. And once they kind of are catching, I guess in this way, you're kind of going after like the in a roach hotel, or even when it comes to ants, you're going after kind of the queen ant, and the one that most likely has as many documents that you're going to need to go after. Because Comey and Clapper and Brennan, they've already been in the sights of everybody, and they've already been paid attention to by the FBI and the prosecutors and beyond. And this is a situation where Bolton wasn't exactly on our radar and everybody's radar. And so in many ways, he's a smaller player than these other guys. But in all likelihood, Brennan, Clapper, and Comey, they basically have already taken steps to cover their rear ends, and whatever documents they had, they probably destroyed or hidden or whatever. And Bolton, because of the fact that he wasn't exactly necessarily expected to have the home raided, they caught him with his absolute pants down.
Raids, the New York Post is reporting that they busted into his home in Bethesda, Maryland. In a raid, normally, do they have how do they get in the house? Would they ring the doorbell first and Bolton would come to the door?
Correct. Yeah, that's usually what it is. I mean, they would ring the doorbell. I mean, that's the proper way that agents usually handle these situations. There's usually kind of a de-escalation of these things before tensions rise. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if they need to bust through the door. I've not confirmed that independently that they busted through the door. I'm not sure if it was any sort of ramrod or anything like that. So I don't want to get ahead of it. But that is possible. Yes, they will if they feel that they have probable cause to get inside and need to get inside. I will note we've not heard from Ambassador Bolton yet. I'm sure.
Yeah, and maybe on Twitter we will. Hey, Ashley, can we take this Real America's Voice? Because Newsmax is showing me dog commercials for about the last 10 minutes, and I want to get to President Trump in the Oval Office and talking about the World Cup if we can. Yeah, because I'm just, they're just not covering this. Newsmax is just basically ignoring this, and President Trump is in the White House in the Oval Office with his big Trump was right about everything hat.
The illegal Indian who's facing vehicular homicide charges today in Florida.
Oh, that's Newsmax.
Yeah,
Do we have
switch
Real
back
America's?
on me.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I just, this is he's in the Oval Office, and Newsmax isn't covering it, and I'm trying to get, but he's announcing the World Cup coming to the United States of America. So that's a big deal, and it's going to be fantastic, and it's going to be good for everybody. So we've got a fancy Friday going here on the Allman Report, and I've got a special guest coming into the studio. In just a few minutes. Happy Fancy Friday to all of you. And of course, we'll monitor this Bolton situation and anything he might say. It's the home and the office, so they're going to get a ton. It's just the beginning, people. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a 3 martini lunch, too, people. And Common Sense Radio.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
I have to tell you, if this is how they're going to behave, I'm rethinking my position.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know Rob Barry's very excited about this Fancy Friday, because he's doing all the work you could possibly imagine from a guy who's been working on renovations and home improvements since he was a little boy. Yeah. So here's the deal. STLBR.com. It's STL Bath and Renovation. So whether this is man-made cultured stone or natural stone, Rob and his team are providing a very low maintenance and grout-free option for you. And the fact that this is a grout-free option is amazing, because that means it is a labor-free option for you. That means it's a situation where you're not going to have to spend, for instance, tomorrow cleaning your grout. you're instead going to enjoy the tail end of summer and have fun outside and do whatever and not have to clean grout. They do not like grout over at STL Bath and Renovation, and neither should you. A+ rating by the BBB. They take care of the entire job from start to finish. There are people who will kind of come in, tear things up, and then leave for like 3 or 4 days. That doesn't happen with Rob Very and his team. They're right there. They specialize in you. So I want you to get a hold of Rob and the team today by going to stlbr.com. That's stlbr.com. Proud sponsors of free common sense conservative radio.
You've worked hard for your money, so protect it. Meet my friend Bob Leslie and ask about the Gain and Retain plan. Leslie Consulting. 40 years in the St. Louis area as a leader in brokerage and risk management. Call 314-721-0066, 721-0066. Oh, and ask Bob how he was the LA Dodger #1 pick. LeslieConsulting.com.
Irrigation systems are put through the stress test throughout our hot Heartland summers when temperatures skyrocket and rain is scarce. Tim Jones here for Hydrodynamics Core, which you should call today to make sure your irrigation system is running at peak performance. This is critical to ensure your lawn and foliage remain lush and lovely and that your grass and plants thrive instead of just barely survive. Schedule a monthly system checkup today with Hydrodynamics Core to make sure your irrigation system is working at its best. That's hydrodynamicscore.com, hydrodynamicscore.com.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
Part of this was a Hillary Clinton plan, but part of it was an FBI plan to be an accelerant.
Essentially, a years-long coup that was launched against President Trump.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Fancy Friday to all of you. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, super happy to be with you. Ashlyn over there, and it's a Fancy Friday. President Trump wearing his Trump was right about everything hat.
Gonna take a trip to Laredo.
Jason Law, I think you need eventually you might need a hat that says Jason Law was right about everything.
Yeah, I think so. I would like that.
Good for you, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me in here today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jason Law. He is running for St. Charles County Executive and overall great guy. And you guys probably already know his name. But, Jason, why don't you go ahead and brief everybody on where you came from and why you're running, brother.
You got it, sir. So I'm a policeman, full-time lieutenant colonel with the St. Louis County Police Department and a prior mayor of the city of Lake St. Louis. But I grew up in North St. Louis County and moved to St. Charles County a long time ago. But the reason why I'm running is I don't want to see what happened to North St. Louis County happen to St. Charles County. And the way you stop that is law and order. And I've proven track record of getting that kind of stuff done. In the city of Lake St. Louis, we cut taxes by 46% by paying off debt early, giving our citizens a $6 million tax infusion back into their pockets. And then we invested millions of dollars into the police department and cut crime by 45% over 4 years.
Man, this is a good time to be talking about that, too, as we're seeing what's happening in D.C. and beyond. It's also a perfect time to be talking about it because let's face it, unfortunately, the crime that we used to experience, for instance, in North County and that kind of thing, that is seeping into St. Charles County. I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, the car thefts and everything else, and these people come out there and I mean, and a lot of it's from people outside of the county, but it still has to be managed and dealt with.
You're 100% right. That has to be addressed. If you look at the St. Charles County jail, 70% are from outside of St. Charles County. So we need to work together with all the municipalities and the St. Charles County Police Department to put an end to all of that.
Yeah. And so, you've got a great career in law enforcement, everything else. And then but this was a calling for you, correct?
It is. I mean, you think about it, my mom and dad and all of their friends that grew up in North St. Louis County lost money on their biggest investment, their home. So that's why in St. Charles County, I'm going to protect the home prices and make sure people don't have to work well into their retirement years.
Yeah, I mean, and property values are really huge. I mean, so is the whole discussion about the overbuilding and about how these apartment complexes and things like that are blowing up out there, much to the chagrin of the residents. And it is true that apartment complexes don't really bring in revenue, except to the people who own the apartment complexes.
You're 100% right. I understand that you need some.
Yeah.
But I was the only mayor in St. Charles County, and I was lambasted for this, for doing a moratorium on apartment buildings. And when I did that, I lowered density, and there was not another, apartment process approved again. We need to do more of that in St. Charles County. The new mayor of Dardenne Prairie, who I supported, his day one objective was to put in a moratorium on apartments. We need to see that countywide.
Yeah, I mean, and it's nothing against, single people or doing whatever, but again, it's not only a revenue thing, but there is a lot of beauty and longevity in building family homes and family neighborhoods. That's how it goes.
Single family homes are the way to go. And people don't realize it puts stresses on the police department, the fire department, and the schools when you overbuild apartments in certain areas. And schools are expensive to build. So just throwing up 800 units in one area really hurts a school, fire, and police.
Yeah. And so can you tell me why that has been allowed to happen? Have you pegged that problem, the root of that problem?
Yeah. So what it is people, and when I got into government as an alderman, you don't realize what your zoning actually says. It takes you a while to learn and understand that. And once you do, you can see, oh my God, we have zoning that says they can do all these different things. And we got flooded with apartments in Lake St. Louis when I was an alderman. And I said, we need to change that. At that point, I couldn't because I didn't have a board that agreed with me.
Yeah.
And so when I became the mayor, I really, lobbied to get good members on the board that had the same vision as I did, was lower crime, lower taxes, and less apartments.
Yeah. These builders have a lot of sway too when it comes to, little sugar going into the contribution pot, right?
100%.
That's kind of what that all is all about. What did you make of the data center controversy?
So, I've been talking about this too. We want those jobs. We want AI to be in Missouri, but we need to be forward thinking about this and having a master plan that identifies land in St. Charles County where it would be safe. Like I said, I grew up in North St. Louis County. I grew up on Coldwater Creek. I fought cancer and I beat it. But we don't need to pollute our water like it is in North County. We need to make sure that our environment's clean for our citizens.
Yeah. So you're a Coldwater Creek victim, huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. And you survived everything from that, huh?
Yeah. I got blessed. I thank God every day.
Wow. That's incredible. That's interesting too. And it almost seems like back in the old days, I think this happened. You're younger than I am, but I remember when I was a kid, it was almost instantaneous. So it happened when this couple, their last name was Decker. I'll never forget it. And it was like Christmas Eve or something, or Christmas week. And they were shopping for their kids for Christmas. And they were, I think, kidnapped and killed in North St. Louis County. I can't remember the municipality. Maybe you guys remember it, but it was the Deckers. And that's when people in North County kind of realized, crime is here. And there was this mass exodus to St. Charles County. So St. Charles County has a lot of people who are refugees, so to speak. And I'm not putting down North County because heaven knows, you guys know this. You probably know this too, Jason. You say one little thing about North County, you get all the North Countyans right down your throat. Don't mess with North County.
Yeah,
right.
That happens. I still have friends that live in North County.
Right.
Hey, man, what are you talking about?
I know. If you downgrade Overland or Florissant or something like that, you're going to be paying for it big time. So I would never do that. But anyway, but that was a mass exodus. So a lot of people in St. Charles County who actually are refugees from North St. Louis County.
Yeah, people don't realize this. The two biggest migrations in Missouri history are from the city to the county and the St. Louis County to St. Charles County. And guess what happened in the 50s? Democrats took over the city. What happened in the late 80s, early 90s? Democrats took over St. Louis County government. We can't let that again. My opponent is talking about more affordable housing in St. Charles County and also talking about police. It's fine. We don't need to do anything with police. It just drives me crazy. We need to learn from the two biggest migrations and make sure we invest in our law and order.
Yeah, no doubt. So I guess it's pretty cool. I mean, with all the people in St. Louis County at the county police department, for you to be doing all that, I think it's great that they do that.
I love it, and I'm really getting out there and getting traction because of the law and order aspect. And because over 200,000 people in St. Charles County are from St. Louis County.
Yeah, right. County Browns.
County Brown.
Right on. I wonder whatever happened to those guys. I knew a couple guys who were County Browns, and they actually had like a barbecue thing going. I can't remember who. You remember?
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember who it is, but we're a pretty large agency now.
Right.
And I'm in the executive command staff of a 1,300 person organization. It's even bigger than St. Charles County's government.
Wow, that's crazy. And where do you live in St. Charles County?
Lake St. Louis.
Oh, you still live in Lake St. Louis?
Yes, sir.
That's a beautiful town, man.
I love it.
And actually, there is a lake in Lake St. Louis.
There is. There's two.
I know. I knew somebody who had a house on one of the lakes, and it is really cool out there. Go fishing and doing all that kind of stuff.
Well, we're on vacation all year long.
And it really is pretty crazy. It's a great community. And so, again, to your point too about crime, I mean, I see it all the time. My brother-in-law is a police officer out in St. Charles, and I see it all the time. And it's not like it's not that it's covered up. It's just that you really have. I mean, the good thing about it is when they do have it, they do react fast. So you get the helicopters up the minute somebody steals a car or whatever, and you got them. Yeah, spotlight on them. You got them.
I run the helicopter division, and those guys run crazy.
Oh yeah, you do.
So, yeah, I'm in special operations, so I run the SWAT units, the helicopter program for the region.
Wow,
all kinds of other things as well.
So you guys have that cool thing. Do you still have that thing, or is it probably improved where you're able to get the thermal imaging?
Oh yeah, FLIR systems.
Yeah.
Those are amazing. I mean, especially in the wintertime, they pop out like that.
Yeah.
What's interesting is drones are coming on board, and they're becoming an easy way to go find missing people as well too, without spending all that money and gasoline. With a helicopter, you just throw up a drone and you search a whole area.
Yeah. I remember back in the day when I was at Channel 4 doing a story about that system. It's called FLIR, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And they used it also to bust people growing pot in their houses.
Yeah.
And so they'd fly over and they'd see like this glowing roof, right?
Yep.
Because it was in the attic and everything else. And they had all these, I mean, these were big marijuana operations, right?
100%. I was an undercover guy for 5 years and had an FBI top secret clearance. And when we did those types of busts, marijuana was kind of towards the end.
Yeah.
But FLIR was, you'd check their Ameren bill and it'd be $10,000 for a month.
Right, exactly. Now, the one thing on a sad note, I think I do remember you guys lost, and you might have been with the department then. Steve, he was a agent in the helicopter.
Yes. He was before my time.
Okay.
I mean, I was on the police department, but Steve
Strell, yeah, man, wonderful guy. I think his son is a police officer.
His son was a St. Louis County policeman and then went to St. Charles County, so he's currently serving.
Oh,
I see him all the time. Great guy,
and I know his wife listens to the show or listen to the show. Sometimes she'll pop up here every once in a while. But what a great family! What a tragedy that was. But I'm sure he's proud of his son. That's for sure.
Yeah,
great story.
My best friend, Colonel Mike Busalaki, who's retired, but they were partners.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Jason Law is running for St. Charles County Executive. And where can people get more info on you or help you out or do whatever?
Law for stcharlescounty.com. And if you want to keep St. Charles safe, look us up.
Yeah.
And we're excited to have your help.
Absolutely. And Jason, you're welcome back here anytime. Thanks so much for sharing. Good luck with everything. And
Thank
thanks
you.
especially for your service in law enforcement to the community. Really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Jason Law and Law for
StCharlesCounty.com.
Yeah, that makes sense. Law for StCharlesCounty.com. So appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for coming in. Coming up, the market is going crazy, and my friend Jordan Rosenblum's going to break it all down for you. This is Common Sense Radio on this fancy Friday.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Newstetter's Fine Jewelers. I love it. You can call it fine jewelry or fine jewelers, whatever. I want to make sure I emphasize the jewelers part of it because they're all jewelers there, which is really pretty amazing. They're all jewelers there. And a lot of people, I mean, listen, you can buy gold, you can buy emeralds, you can buy diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, whatever. You can buy watches from anybody, but wouldn't you prefer to buy them from people who actually are jewelers instead of salespeople? That way, you get a primer on the quality. You get people who know how to compare this versus that. You get people who know about classic service. And Richard Newstetter knows about classic service because, you know what, he grew up. He was 17 years old, okay, working at Jackards downtown, the world-famous Jackards. So he grew up in the diamond business, and now he's bringing that experience and that love of the business to Newstetter's Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. The diamonds are great. The lab-grown diamonds are perfect. They've got the mine-grown, too. They have the Frank Sinatra Bulova watch, which I wear every single day, get a lot of compliments on it, and also their Bulova watch line is outstanding. So, again, it's service coming from real jewelers at Newstetter's Fine Jewelry, Doherty Ferry and Big Bend, wowdiamonds.com.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you'll be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
A legendary weekend is coming to the Lou. Don't miss the Stiefel Charity Classic presented by Compliant Solutions, September 4th through 7th at Norwood Hills Country Club. Watch PGA Tour champions compete and enjoy a live performance by music sensation OAR at Friday's community concert presented by CarShield. Tickets start at just $20. Kids, military, veterans, and first responders get in free. Get your tickets today at StiefelCharityClassic.com.
This is a 100-year catastrophe, and it's just so horrible to watch.
Questions.
There have been some 850 rescues.
Are we raising the right ones?
The Trump administration is making deep cuts to weather forecasting.
You have to look at the Doge-Trump cuts.
Will we ever get answers?
Nobody there has said anything about that they didn't get everything that they wanted immediately or that they needed.
St. Louis's place to talk about it.
What happened? Why did it happen?
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
You know, Tim and I made a ton of new Newsmax friends during our trip to Israel, which is why we'll have financial expert and wise guy John Tobacco on at 420.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Let's go ahead and plug it right in. Oh, I forgot to mention, Jason Law is very, very proud of the endorsement from Andrew Bailey And Andrew Bailey's been in the news, and so I wanted to make sure I mentioned it. I talked about that before they came on, and then I forgot to talk about it. But anyway, I got a picture of the two together and stuff like that. So let's go to Washington, D.C. real quickly in the Oval Office, because President Trump is talking about with Gianni Infantino, is it FIFA or FIFA? I don't know. But anyway, they're bringing the World Cup to the United States of America.
Ever, and everything will start here in Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy Center, or the Trump Kennedy Center. We'll see that how it will be called on the 5th of September at noon sharp. 5th of December, noon sharp. Then, if I may.
Will they be doing most of the draws, all of the draws at the Kennedy? Well, how are you going to do that?
So they're going to draw.
We'll do that at the Kennedy Center. We'll do all the other meetings around it with the coaches, with the broadcasters, with the sponsors, everything at the Kennedy Center. The whole World Cup starts, and everyone will be happy because everyone has qualified for the World Cup, and they didn't yet play a game, so they didn't lose yet the game. So they all think they can become world champion, right?
They'll all be happy.
Exactly. Now,
by the way, an example, supposing we had a week ago when everybody was being killed and mugged and everything else, despite the phony numbers that were given out, that it was getting better. Brian, do you believe it was getting better or getting worse?
Oh, the crime was getting worse. I mean, I was robbed. It was getting worse.
It's Brian Glenn, our buddy Brian
How
Glenn.
did the other guy come out?
He came out with my briefcase, unfortunately. Robert 1, Brian 0.
No, but can you imagine you do this and then you start hearing that they had a 20-year reduction of crime. It was worse during the Biden administration than anybody's ever.
All right. So anyway,
imagined.
that's the draw for the World Cup, which will determine the cities, because U.S., Canada, and Mexico are all going to be hosting some of the World Cup games. But this draw will take place on the 5th of December at the Kennedy Center, and that is where they are going to draw the names of the cities that they're going to be hosting the game. So that's a pretty cool development that we're going to have the World Cup here. And that's a big, big deal. And I don't think it would have happened without President Trump. Also, at the same time, people, have you looked at the markets lately? I think it's right now. And Jordan Rosenblum with Stewie's American Mortgage, just Google the bagel loan, is on the line with me. I know you're looking at it. Is it 900 points already?
What a day.
Yeah.
What a day. Markets are rocking today. Powell had they had their Fed meeting in Jackson Hole, and he put an outlook for the year of 2026, and we're looking at rate cuts.
Yeah.
Long time coming, but the markets are rocking. Rates are coming down. Good Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Jordan Rosenblum. He and his dad, Stewie, and the rest of the experts there at stewartsamc.com. Stewie's American Mortgage are ready to take your phone calls, get you going, especially on a refi. Actually, people are doing a lot of refis even now, but man, even when the rates go down, just get yourself prepared with a 5-minute phone call with someone like Jordan and beyond, because now's a great time to refi. And a lot of people have been scared too, because they had this view of the rates and whatever else. And Jordan, it's a good time to do it.
It's a great time to do it. If you've bought a home within the last 3 years, you need to give us a call. So rates are down to levels they haven't been in the last 3 years. I spoke to somebody yesterday. They were a little bit under 7% on their interest rate. He's like, I don't know, maybe it's not time for a refinance. We took a look at his stuff. You look at the housing market over the last 3 years, this, Jamie, it's just gone up. So this guy put down 5% on his house 3 years ago. Did a refinance yesterday. No more PMI. Lowered his rate, saving $350 a month, and it costs him nothing. Our bagel loan, we cover your title fees, we cover your appraisal costs. There's no lender fees. Saving $300 a month. I got off the phone with somebody 5 minutes ago. We just saved him $600 a month, and he bought his house 2 years ago. So if you bought a house in the last 3 years, there is no reason you should not be calling for a refinance right now. If rates continue to drop and people say, I'm going to wait till rates get lower and lower and lower. Well, when there's no cost to do it, there's no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
So just do it again.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the thing where you have no closing costs, then that's absolutely so easy. And then you just can do it again if and when, because you never know actually when the actual rates are going to ultimately go down. But if you're ready to rock, What's that?
Nobody knows anything.
Yeah.
Things can change
Right.
overnight.
Yeah.
So you lock in now, you refinance, and we do it again as rates continue to drop.
Yeah, I mean, it's super easy, and I know that there are people who talk about how can they do that? They can't do that. I love when I got some pushback from somebody like, how can they do that? It's like, well, because so many people do the bagel loan, and because the bagel loan is so world famous, you have a big volume of people that you're dealing with, and so that's how you can do it. You don't have to nickel and dime people.
Absolutely. We don't have any commission loan officers in our company. It's me and my dad. No commission sales guys means we don't have to make as much money. So we can cover your closing costs. Yes, we don't make a lot of money doing one loan. We do a lot of loans. That's, one thing that we do. We do them quickly. We communicate so everyone's getting service very well. But the key is on volume. Main thing for, how we do it, call me and see. And you'll see in those paperwork, there's no cost to do it at all.
Yeah.
So, that's what we always tell people.
All you have to do is Google the bagel loan, and you'll be able to just get in and get there. And if not, just at this point, write this number down, 314-442-9570, 314-442-9570. That is Jordan's direct line. He'll pick up, he'll talk to you, and get you going even today on a refi, or if you are into a debt consolidation. That's something we need to talk about too, because if the rates are where they are and even going lower, it's a perfect time to do that too, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, house values have been growing. What's also been growing is debt, right? With all this inflation and, people getting used to the COVID spending, your credit card bills have gone up 30-40%, and those rates are 25 to 30% that you're paying on those credit cards. So if you do a debt consolidation, your mortgage payment may go up a couple $100, but you are saving a ton on interest on those credit cards. People say, oh, I don't want to lose my 4% or 3% on my mortgage. Well, it's better than paying 35% on your credit cards.
Yeah.
And when rates drop again, we refinance again. So this is a moving part. Use the equity that you have in your home that you've built up. Doesn't do anything by sitting there. Use it, let it work for you. Fix your cash flow. We can move you to a 15-year fix when things get better. This is the way you start that process of, full financial freedom.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's a real easy thing and super easy with Stewart's American Mortgage, stewartsamc.com, or just Google the bagel loan, or I want you to call Jordan right after we hang up here, 314-442-9570. And man, it does, President Trump, when he talked about needing the rate cuts and everything else, Powell should know this. And look what happened when they even talked about it. The response is incredible.
It's unbelievable. So, I mean, even just today, like you said, Dow's up 900 points. Markets are rocking. This is what we need. This is what has to happen. We've been sitting on this for 3 years almost. So it's time for this thing to explode in a good way for the economy and a good way for home buyers.
Yeah, and Powell's being stubborn. He's hanging on to this, and Trump hasn't fired him or anything yet. But now at this point, it's just a political game. So get on it, Powell. You can do this. It's very, very easy. And you all can do this too. So go ahead and Google the bagel loan, or get a hold of Jordan, 314-442-9570. Buddy, thank you so much. And again, you all know Jordan, I trust him also as a partner in my real estate ventures, where I'm going out and I'm helping home buyers connect with their dream home. Just yesterday, Jordan was able to help somebody. I think I called you like about 3:00 or something, and you still were able to help these folks get everything done, get pre-approval and everything else. And so these guys are miracle workers. I mean, give them a little more time than that, but they are miracle workers, and will do that for you if you are into buying a home or just getting ready to look. You want to make sure you have a piece of paper that shows the power of your purchase power. That would be great. So Google the bagel loan. Jordan Rosenblum, thank you so much for being with me, man.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a great weekend, brother. That is cool. And I'm telling you what, everything they're saying is absolutely I mean, this isn't Jordan and Stewie are pretty straight shooters. I mean, you might have run into a lot of people in the realm of that who are kind of fast talkers and everything else. These guys are absolutely the real deal. I've traveled to Detroit with Jordan and hung out with him and know him, and he's a good guy, and they are a great operation. And I'm telling you, everything they're saying about the zero closing costs is absolutely true. 314-442-9570. All right. This story is infuriating. So you heard about this group of boys at this grade school. This is in Loudoun County, Virginia. Loudoun County, Virginia, for whatever reason, always shows up in the most horrible stories and beyond, because that place is messed up, especially the schools. So anyway, a group of boys at a grade school in Loudoun County, Virginia, they were suspended from school because they objected to a female student in their locker room who identifies as a male. Now, again, it's always so weird sometimes how people make these gratuitous and almost kind of gross comments about, well, hell, if I were a boy, I'd love a girl. It's like, okay, enough of that. It's kind of like whenever you see stories about, these women teachers who molest boys. You're like, oh, I would love to have a teacher like that. It's like, gee whiz, people, not you, but you know how it is. But anyway, these guys objected to a female student in their locker room, and they were suspended because of it. And the female student even took pictures in the locker room, but the boys were the ones who were suspended for objecting. But guess what? You know what happened in the end? It's being reported now that one of the boys actually didn't get suspended. You know why? Because he's a Muslim. Can you guys believe this? And obviously nothing against Muslims, my goodness gracious. I love them. I mean, actually, the woman, Zizi, who takes care of my mom every day, is a Muslim. She's a beautiful, wonderful, amazing human being, as is her entire family. So this isn't really about Muslims or, any negative about Muslims. But there were 3 boys involved in this investigation. The third boy was a Muslim, or is a Muslim. So the progressive administrators didn't want to punish him because of obviously the insinuation is that these individuals, the Muslim has some religious problem with a female in their locker room. Now, imagine if one of these was like kids was like an evangelical Christian, right? Do you think that they would have the same consideration? No. And I'm not even quite sure whether or not Muslims agree with this kind of special treatment. And what's interesting is because I know many Muslims and because I'm close to the Muslim woman that takes care of my mom, I know almost for a fact that they don't want special treatment. They don't want to replace Christians or anything like that. They just want to be able to live with their own level of freedom, unmolested by other institutions or other people. And in fact, Muslims are great allies of a lot of these people who have gone to school boards and been opposed to the content of the books at the libraries and beyond. So I'm telling you what, you go up to Minnesota or whatever, especially in predominantly Muslim communities, and particularly Bosnians, but also just regular Arab Muslims as well. They when they get upset about something, they will go right to the school board and everything else. So this Muslim boy, I'm sure his family would rather have all the boys not suspended instead of just the Muslim boy who was not getting suspended because it's apparently in part of it. But actually, 2 of the boys are Christian, but they dropped the investigation into the Muslim boy while holding the Christian boys accountable and on the hook. So, this is just not correct in any way, shape, or form. This is not tolerable. And this is what happens when you have a bunch of hack liberal school administrators running the show, doing what they're doing, and just applying all of these woke principles to the point where actually they wind up, in my opinion, probably offending the Muslims by giving them this special treatment that I think they surely don't want and surely don't really deserve if it's just them getting the special treatment. This is just outrageous. And Loudoun County particularly has a problem. They just keep showing up on these radar, and suspending the boys is not only a retaliatory move, it's designed to keep all the other kids quiet and tamed and abiding by whatever wokeness or change they want to allow in their schools and beyond. But this is a bad sign. This is absolutely not something that is going to age well, and it's certainly something that we need to keep an eye on because, man, it's bad news. So yeah, it's a fancy Friday. We will follow up on the raid of John Bolton's home, and Kristi Noem also announcing that, there are going to be a bunch of World Cup fans coming from other parts of the world. And Kristi Noem says, yeah, we're gonna get them visas. And then President Trump saying, Putin might come to the World Cup. You never know. It's like, wow. Oh, it's a crazy Friday, that is for sure. But we will take as much as we can get here. This is Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. Until I called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. When life changes, you need someone you can trust. That's Todd Sivia. At Sivia Law, they're dedicated to helping you through all of life's transitions, specializing in estate planning and elder law. With 7 convenient locations in the area, expert guidance is always close by. Call 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, or visit CiviaLaw.com. Don't forget, first 10 people that tell them Tim Jones sent me get a free $300 strategy session. Civia Law, helping you protect what matters most.
From festivals in 2000 to our beautiful restaurant today, Tango Argentina Food brings you authentic Buenos Aires. We've grown from 1 empanada to 18 varieties, using traditional family recipes with spices and dough imported directly from Argentina. Enjoy our daily milanesas, weekend Argentine specials, and Stella's homemade dulce de leche desserts. Watch soccer on our big screen while sipping imported Argentine wine in a true cultural experience. Mention News Talk STL at your next visit and get a free special dessert in St. Charles or at tangoargentinafood.com.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. The FBI is searching the Maryland home and Washington office of President Trump's ex-national security advisor.
John Bolton served as national security officer for 17 months in the first Trump administration. A person familiar with the situation says Bolton was not detained and has not been charged with any crimes, adding the searches are part of an investigation into the handling of classified information.
That is correspondent Mike Kempen. Authorities say an apparent accident involving exposure to a gas at a dairy in Colorado has killed 6 people. First responders found the bodies in a confined space at Prospect Dairy on Wednesday. The dairy located about 35 miles northeast of Denver. No names released. As Hurricane Aaron moves out to sea, forecasters are keeping watch on 3 other areas of disturbed weather in the Atlantic, including one that could become Tropical Storm Fernand. That could happen over the next few days. Fortunately, none of these systems appear likely to directly affect the United States. Former California Congressman John Campbell says Democrats are getting quite creative. They seek to redraw the congressional voting map. Bob Agnew with a report.
As a former California lawmaker, Campbell is taking a keen interest in the issue.
I have looked at the districts.
He says the most creative change involves a voting district held by a Republican near the California-Oregon border.
That is very red country. That is conservative country.
The new map would stretch a slim finger from that district hundreds of miles south into San Francisco.
You take some of those Democrats from the Bay Area and run them up in there in order to dilute the Republican control of that district.
Congressman Campbell was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. Bob Agnew reporting.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Skies are a little cloudy today, but a nice warm one with highs in the mid-80s and keeping that humidity moderate. We don't expect to see any rain today. The low temperatures dropping down in the low 60s tonight. Tomorrow, a little warmer, 87 degrees. Clear skies in the morning, but we will see those skies become cloudy. A couple of very quick light spot showers are possible on Saturday, but Sunday is going to be spectacular. The high near 80, breezy with lower humidity and into the 70s next week. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris. How are you, Vic? I don't want to put anybody else down, but when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Life's legal challenges deserve experienced representation. For over 15 years, Cole Combs, attorney at law, has been serving St. Charles and surrounding counties with comprehensive legal expertise. From tax preparation and estate planning to family law and criminal defense, Cole delivers personalized solutions for your unique situation. You have traffic tickets, need a business formation, real estate matters, one call will handle it all. Cole O. Combs, attorney at law. Call 636-949-0010, extension 3 today, or visit colecombs-law.com.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL, live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy fancy Friday to all of you and yours. John Bolton has been raided upon, has been pounced upon by the FBI. Oh, yeah. Home and office. Big bad John Bolton loved it when the Mar-a-Lago raid happened because he said no one is above the law. You know what? The whole comeuppance thing, I don't really. You don't need to use the word revenge. It's retribution, and retribution is godly. It's acceptable. So relax. It's going to be fun because you know what they're doing, though, is they are. This is just like a little probing because you know that Bolton, that Comey, and by the way, this is why Comey earlier this week when I played you that embarrassing pro-Swiftie video that he put out, now we know the possible reason for that is because he wants to have somebody who will come to his defense when he himself gets raided and prosecuted, which should happen. And so I guess he's thinking, I guess my best bet is to praise and laud in a weird, oddly creepy old man way, Taylor Swift. It was really disgusting, but we played it for you and it was really something. But now I think we know why. I think Comey is sensing that he's going to be in some trouble down the line. But anyway, what I'm saying is that this raid on Bolton's place is almost assuredly designed to grab documents that might have already been destroyed or copies of them, whatever, by Comey, Brennan, and Clapper, and some of the others. And Bolton probably never suspected that he would be raided. And in fact, probably none of you really suspected it either. You thought if something was going to happen, it was going to be happening to some other folks like Comey or Brennan or Clapper or some of these other people that Tulsi Gabbard has mentioned. So in that case, I think they caught Bolton napping. And obviously, there's a chance Bolton might have already destroyed some evidence as well. But I think knowing John Bolton and knowing his hubris and his arrogance, the chances are pretty good. He thought, well, they're not going to come after me. It would look so bad. It would look like revenge or whatever. So, in fact, President Trump did chime in on this. He was asked about it. Here's what he had to say.
No, I don't know about it. I saw it on television this morning. I'm not a fan of John Bolton. He's a real sort of a lowlife. When I hired him, he served a good purpose because, as you know, he was one of the people that forced Bush to do the ridiculous bombings in the Middle East. Bolton, he wants to always kill people, and he's very bad at what he does. But he worked out great for me because every time he doesn't talk, he's like a very quiet person, except on television. If he could say something bad about Trump, he'll always do that. But he really doesn't talk. He's quiet. And I'd walk into a room with him with a foreign country, and the foreign country would give me everything because they said, oh, no, they're going to get blown up because John Bolton's there. He's not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic guy. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did a raid.
I mean, that's really super interesting too, because President Trump's like, I don't know, I didn't know anything about it. And that's probably the best way to go about these kinds of things anyway, is you don't want any kind of semblance of a presidential involvement in this. You don't want to have President Trump's fingerprints on something like this, even though technically, obviously, it is a Trump administration FBI and it is a Trump administration Attorney General's office. But the reality is you definitely want to make sure that these are kept clean and separate and everything else. And I totally believe him, obviously. President Trump would not lie about this. And I believe him. And I think that's pretty amazing. But it absolutely is a 100% great thing that he's just letting his guy go through with all this and see. But they want documents that have the names of the people they really want to nail down. And they believe that John Bolton has those documents. And so I think they're looking for just some crumbs from the eating of other people in John Bolton's house. And I hope that's the case. Ashley, let's go back to President Trump is asking questions right now in the Oval Office. As I said, he's wearing that big Trump was right about everything hat, which is awesome. Here we go.
Some of the people and the people because Intel should have never been. Intel was the biggest, most powerful chip company.
Talk about the stock market now.
And then they started leaving. And they started going to foreign countries, in particular Taiwan. And if we had a president that would have said, okay, you can go to Taiwan, but we're going to put a 100% tariff or a 200 or 300 or a 500% tariff, anybody that sells into the United States has to pay. They wouldn't have left. They would have never left, and we wouldn't have. So in the meantime, we had people that were, in some cases, good politicians that weren't good on trade. I loved that man, but he was not good on trade. I totally disagree. He allowed the car industry to be taken out of this country. We lost 50% of our car industry. But that's all coming back. It's all coming back. But if somebody would have said that with Intel, would be a giant right now. Now, with that, they've had some bad management over the years, and they got lost. And I said, I think you should pay us 10% of your company. And they said, yes, that's about $10 billion. I don't get it. This comes to the United States of America. And I said, I think it would be good having the United States as your partner. He agreed. And they've agreed to do it. And I think it's a great deal for them. And I think it's a great deal. He walked in wanting to keep his job, and he ended up.
So anyway, President Trump is reflecting on the really huge 900-point ballooning of the stock market today that we talked with Jordan about. And he says we would have had a crash if Harris won. And that's exactly what they wanted. And that's what the Democrats and even some Republicans wanted. They wanted to keep us miserable. And if you just look at the, how many months is it? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't have to count on my fingers, but 8 months. It's been 8 months and the entirety of the United States has changed. More than it ever has in 40 years. The entirety of the country has changed, whether it be economically, whether it be structurally, with the growth of the return to our manufacturing and the attention paid to our blue collar workers, to the open border, which is now closed, and the arrests being made and everything else, to even when it comes to American Eagle commercials. I mean, this entire transformation has only been about 8 months, and it's really super incredible. Now, the market went up 900 points because of some insinuations that interest rates were going to go down. But nonetheless, I think overall, this is coming. And I think the market is seeing this, the interest rates going down as icing on the cake. Let me get back to Trump here talking about Bolton.
Foreign country would give me everything because they said, oh, no, they're going to get blown up because John Bolton was there. He's not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic guy. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did a raid.
Do you expect the DOJ to brief you on this?
Yeah, they'll brief me probably today sometime.
And the foreign minister.
I tell Pam and I tell the group, I don't want to know, but just you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer. But I feel that it's better this way.
Yeah, it totally is better this way. Only because it's a little cleaner. But as he points out, he goes, well, if I wanted to, I could lead the operation because it's not a big deal. But this is absolutely the way to keep things clean and streamlined and everything else, because that's super important. And by the way, you don't really need necessarily to be involved because it's clear that President Trump trusts these guys. He trusts people like Pam Bondi and he trusts people like Kash Patel because they are mini Trumps. And President Trump has learned so much from his first term. Because you guys remember when Bolton first came into the White House that last term, I have to admit, and a lot of us were like, yeah, this is cool. He's got, Bolton's back. He's a tough guy. He's going to do all this kind of stuff. But even at the same time, didn't you kind of not trust him because he was a Bush guy and whatever? But Bolton was so effusive about his support for Trump that Trump probably figured he could trust him and do whatever. But the reality is, in the end here, President Trump has surrounded himself, unlike it has been for the individuals in the first term, he has surrounded himself with people who are just like him. And that is fabulous. It's not that they're just dyed-in-the-wool loyalists. That's not the only thing that he benefits from. It's that he has people in his administration right now, in his cabinet and around him, who think like him. And that has been the dramatic difference between the last term and this term, is that he has surrounded himself with people who are just basically mini-me's, which I'm perfectly, absolutely comfortable that Trump has mini-me Trumps, because if we can't have a real fully cloned Trump, it's nice to have people who are just kind of like him, and that's important here. Here, let's go back. He's talking about the rates now with the reporters in the Oval Office.
We have a stock market that's up 1,000 points today. I better be careful because I'll go out there and I'll see it's down 1,000, right? But it's up 1,000 points when I came in here. We have a country that the market's the hottest it's ever been. The country's better than it's ever been. We have a military that I rebuilt largely in my first term. We had a great, successful first term, but this is going to be even better. But we rebuilt it. We gave a lot of it away to Afghanistan, but relatively small compared to the overall. But I think it was the most embarrassing day and period in the history of our country that they allowed those 13 wonderful people, but it's really hundreds of people were killed. And they don't talk about the 48 that were so severely wounded with no legs, no arms, nobody ever mentions them except me. But that was the worst day, the most, it just showed how incompetent. Frankly, if that didn't happen, I really believe that you might not have had the problem with Russia. I think Putin was sitting there watching these stupid people running our country and said, this is a time to invade. It's, this is a time. And then Biden made the statement, well, he can do a small incursion. When he said that, it was off to the races, right? When he said he can do a small incursion. Remember that? I was surprised he knew the word incursion. I didn't think he had that good of a vocabulary.
He kind of went off
I
the
want to
beat
thank everybody.
path on the stock market thing because he started talking about the military, but he's absolutely right about that and about what happened as we move into the anniversary. That terrible day at Abbey Gate where we lost 13 of our brave men and women, and including one right here from St. Louis, Jared Schmitz. And just Sad day. We'll be having Mark on the show. I just talked to him a couple days ago. He's going up actually to D.C. to meet with President Trump. So we'll either have him on before or after that when he is there. This is Common Sense Radio. Oh, the guys out there in the commentariat are a little jealous of Pete Hegseth and RFK Jr. doing exercises and lifting weights and beyond. So, yeah, you'll hear from them. The women apparently love it, but the beta males are all upset. So we'll have that for you on the other side of this. This is Common Sense Radio on this fancy Friday.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you that when it comes to your sleep problems, you got to make sure that you are getting a good night's sleep. And so many people are just simply accepting the fact that they snore. Oh, he snores. Oh, he snores. I should sleep in the other room. I do this. That's just not a way to live. And plus, snoring it's more than just snoring or annoying, whatever. Snoring is affecting your health. Your breathing is stopping during the night while you're sleeping, and you are it's endangering you. And then you're not really getting sleep. So you're waking up after 8 hours. You're going about your business, and then about noon, you're face planting in your salad, and because you're falling asleep. That's just no way to go. And Dr. Joe Ogile with the Clayton Sleep Institute is there to take care of you and resolve these sleep issues once and for all, my friends. That's the promise of the Clayton Sleep Institute. Dr. Ogile has been a longtime supporter of free, common sense, conservative radio. Really happy. He's a great friend, and he's been my sleep coach for a long time. We'll take care of insomnia or restless leg syndrome, which is often a problem. Pediatric sleep problems he'll take care of as well. And, of course, when it comes to all these things, don't try to go it alone. Dr. Ogile will help you. He's got his clinics where you could go there, spend a night. You're monitored all night, and it really is pretty amazing. Or you can go ahead, have a consultation with him, and he can give you some take-home apparatus and things you could do to resolve your sleep issues once and for all. ClaytonSleep.com. That's ClaytonSleep.com.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor, Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
JC's Wayback Machine.
In 1991, we took a busload of listeners to Dyersville, Iowa. You'll go on that trip to the Field of Dreams, too. The A-list interview is with a guy who's here for a show Saturday night, Alice Cooper, David Gilmour, and Roger Waters with some unplugged Pink Floyd, plus great tunes from the 90s, 80s, and 70s that don't get played on St. Louis radio. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. On News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Don't always agree, but in love listening to your radio station. This is tyrannical stuff they're doing.
Elections have consequences. This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is Lauren Daigle and Jamie McDonald.
Actually, no, way off.
Golly, do I love Jamie McDonald. She's kind of somebody I didn't hear of before. She's got a new album out.
But it's really, I need to look at this, but every time I look at you, I'm like, it's sweet. And then I'm like,
That's with Lauren Daigle.
Is that your daily? Like you just do it to do it? Yeah, it's good.
You're practicing.
I can also hit a note first.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
All right,
Let me hear it. Let's go.
You can move a mountain. You can calm a storm. I know you can, 'cause I've seen it before. Oh God, I'm desperate. Down on my knees. Send help from heaven. I'm desperate. Desperate. Oh, I need help.
Yeah, I know where I'm going to be on November 11th, because that's when Jamie McDonald is coming into St. Louis on her tour. And I'm going to try to get an interview with her or something, because I just think she's great and her music is godly and beautiful and her voice is absolutely tremendous. I thought Lauren Daigle was great, and Jamie McDonald just coming on the scene, for me at least. Some of you probably who listen to that kind of music are probably familiar with her, but man, is that great. All right, so this is interesting. This is from CNN. So you saw Hegseth and you saw RFK Jr. Doing their exercises, because they're bringing back that whole presidential fitness award or whatever that I never got. And because I still remember how hard it was. That damn rope was so hard to climb up, I'm like, I was so weak. My little weak arms and everything else, a little wimpy guy. And so, but now they're going to bring that back, which is really great. I mean, golly, what's next? I mean, they're going to bring back the Boy Scouts or whatever. It's all great. So anyway, this is CNN's coverage of it. What's really crazy is the female reporters on CNN are like, wow, I really, really like that. And the male guy is the one who's a little beta crab apple about it.
I want to see Tulsi Gabbard in this because she's very strong.
Yeah, she is. All of these people are stronger and more fit than I am. This is great for recruiting. This is great for in terms of enticing young men, young women into wanting to join the ranks. It's very sort of TikTokable as well. Mm-hmm. And so this is why Donald Trump wanted him to be the Secretary of Defense, because he was telegenic.
I mean, the guy is sitting there and he's got his little pursed lips and everything else. And he's sitting here listening to the women on CNN all gush about Hegseth in the video.
He was masculine. He was all the things that Donald Trump thinks he is as well.
Yeah, central casting, as Donald Trump likes to say, and it does make sense. It does line up with the sort of the appeals they made during the campaign to young men. But posting thirst traps if you're the defense secretary is one thing, or if you're Jason Crow, like I guess everyone's doing this now. This is what social media has wrought. But the defense secretary is not running point right now on what's happening with the conversations around security guarantees for Ukraine. He is not playing a main role in that conversation. Secretary Rubio.
Yeah, there we go. So translated, I mean, he might not be able to be speaking the kind of English you understand, but translated is, I'm jealous, I'm fat, and I'm weak. And watching Pete Hegseth exercise makes me realize that I'm jealous and fat and weak. That's kind of how that rolls. In the meantime, then, you got these guys at the Bulwark. Okay, you guys know what the Bulwark is? That's where all the anti-Trump TDS people all hang out. That's where Bill Kristol is and everything else. So Adam Kinzinger decides he's going to go on this podcast, and he's with the Bulwark podcast. And so this is what he had to say, and these guys had to say about the exercising that Hegseth was doing. And they're just kind of like oozing beta male envy. It's really crazy.
Have you seen the Secretary of Defense doing pull-ups? He's been posting some videos of himself doing pull-ups. I'd like for you to give me a little play-by-play analysis.
And this is where it's really great, because the left and the Never Trump people, there's no trap that you cannot set for these guys to make them look petty and outright evil in many ways. For instance, we've seen throughout the past month or so, we've seen how people have been siding with criminal illegals, rapists, murderers, child molesters, people who have been siding with government waste. People who have been siding with individuals who tried to pull off a coup on President Trump. They're siding with people who are initiating election fraud. They're siding with all of the most horrible people on the planet. And then also, alternative, you have them resenting and getting angry about a white woman talking about her genes on an American Eagle commercial. You have them flipping out over an American Eagle commercial. And now you have them bitching about people doing pull-ups. I mean, this is like, you can't get a better projection on the reality of who these people are than this.
Listen, Tim, I don't know. He could have been on pull-up number 1,000. Okay. But let me just say this. For him, first off, the one thing you learn in the military is if you do underhand pull-ups, that's what the girls are allowed to do. The guys do overhand pull-ups.
Yeah, that's actually not true. That's a lie. In the military, the females just hang for a period of time. And you can do pull-ups from the front or the back in the military. So I don't know what these guys are talking about with, and if they're just fabricating what the deal is, because the women are all are not required to do the pull-ups. They are just, all they have to do is hang on the bar for a period of time. So I don't know.
And in that video, RFK Jr. is doing overhand pull-ups. Pete is doing underhand pull-ups, and he's like hoinking around his legs to try to hoist himself up because he can't get up on his own power. So look, I mean, great, good job working out, but in an environment where alpha males rule and your image is everything, that was a pretty big violation of that today.
Yeah. Well, you're not an alpha male though, Adam, so I don't know what you're talking about. And these guys again are so bitter about all this. It's just crazy.
Maybe kind of a gender affirming care a little bit on which type of pull up that he was doing. You might want to call it that.
Completely. Yep. It's a little reinforcement. You really are strong, Pete, even if it is underhand. And by the way, I mean, if you have no upper body strength, but you're allowed to jerk your legs around to the level he did, you could do as many pull-ups as you wanted.
And so, unfortunately, this is where these people are kind of relegated to. This is where they are right now. And they're just doing podcasts and spending time. Actually, they're investing time in this kind of nonsense. They just don't have anything going for them. And man, if you are a person who's interested in the longevity of the Democrat Party or what have you, it is really pretty amazing. You've got to come up with something, and I'm just not quite sure what they're going to come up with at this stage of the game, because you better start working fast, because I don't know how you're going to be able to come up with something that could possibly break through. And that's why I believe ultimately that the Democrat Party is really in the same kind of peril that the Republican Party was in and before Trump. And that was on the verge of going the way of the Whigs. There is a time when you get to a point where you have basically outlasted yourself and outlasted your importance to America. So when I talk about the Whigs, it's kind of interesting, because you have to realize that the Whig Party in the United States, and it basically lasted from 1833 to about 1854. So this was a little more than a 10-year-old thing. And before that, there was the Federalist Party and the National Republican Party and the Anti-Masonic Party. They were all people who were all crazy. But the party itself was way, way off base because it didn't really understand the desire that most Americans had. So it at one point, it was the Democrat Party and the Whig Party. And those were the two major parties during the late 1830s until the 1850s. And there were 4 Whig presidents. So William Henry Harrison was a Whig president, John Tyler, Zachary Taylor, and Millard Fillmore. You guys, William Henry Harrison was president for about a month because he caught a cold in like a 3-hour inaugural address. And the word is he basically caught a cold, got the flu, and died after a month in office. And then, of course, you had, and William Henry Harrison was the grandfather of Benjamin Harrison, who was president in the 1870s. John Tyler, he's pretty cool. Zachary Taylor, general, and Millard Fillmore, who didn't do a whole lot. But basically, the party didn't like this idea of manifest destiny. So they didn't want, I mean, can you imagine being an American and being against westward expansion, like expansion into Texas or the Southeast? And it didn't, it totally disliked presidential power. So in many cases, when a Whig would get elected or whatever, there was none of this elections have consequences type of thing. And so the Whig Party was pretty much wound up being pretty much wrong about everything. And they wanted actually congressional dominance of the United States of America, which of course is a bad idea. The bottom line is, unfortunately for the Whigs, much like the Democrats, is they don't appreciate the separate but equal branches of government. So they don't acknowledge the equality of Congress and the president, or of Congress and the Supreme Court, or the president and the Supreme Court, or what have you. They don't acknowledge the separate but equal branches of government. I mean, you see people in Congress right now, and apparently some of these people were so poorly schooled, they actually think like the Whigs. They think that Congress runs the show, and Congress doesn't run the show. But the president doesn't run the show either. They're all separate but equal branches of government. So when we had this whole Doge thing, as you all remember, we had the Doge issue, and there were people saying, well, you can't go in there and do that because we approve the money. It's like, I get it that you approve the money, but that doesn't mean that you also are the ones overseeing how the money is spent. So these people all wrongly thought that congressional approval of money meant that they were, it was just off to the races and no accountability whatsoever. And the reality is, what President Trump was trying to say, and Elon Musk at that time, Elon Musk was trying to say was, well, yeah, okay, you guys did approve the money, but we are tasked, and in fact, it's one of our powers to monitor how the money is spent. And if it's not spent in a way that we find fit, we're going to cancel it out. That's how it's going to work. So all these people, a lot of the arguments we were having about Doge and everything else were linked to a fundamental misunderstanding of the acts of the branches of government. And that's where, you know how it is when you're arguing with somebody and like they're wrong about something or whatever, or what have you, and you're having to backtrack to just go back to an accurate portrayal of what your argument's about. And so all this time we're sitting here having to deal with people who are bitching about stuff based on a complete and total lack of knowledge. It was crazy, but true. So that's a long story about the Whigs.
Step one, you say
And at the very least, you could say, that was a pretty fancy Friday on the Allman Report show. I learned a lot about the Whigs. Gotta keep it, keep all the variety you want with the Allman Report here on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, happy to be with you on this fancy Friday.
News, analysis, opinion.
They were looking for the intelligence community assessment.
I don't think statute of limitations are going to impact. That report is pretty damning.
101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Oh, yeah. The Wallner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. Ladies and gentlemen, I really love these guys. I love them so much. I joined the team, and I'm really super happy to be there for you, as would be all of my great colleagues there at the Wallner home selling team. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD. So we're experts in getting your home sold. We list your home. We do all the cool things like drone pictures and everything else. We dress it up super nicely for you, and then we throw it to the wolves, and we get the highest price for your home that you're going to find anywhere in the land. That is the amazing thing about how we do listings. Now, we also, of course, will help you buy a home. I've got some really great clients, and we're kind of on the hunt for some homes. We'll see a home, and they might not like it that much, and so we'll look for another one. And that's how things go with me as your buyer's agents. I do mostly the buyer's agent thing. After I leave today, I'm going to oversee the inspection of a home that we already closed on. So that's about full service before, during, and after the sale with the Wallner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD.
Hi, it's Chris Arps, and I've been a customer of Royal Banks, Missouri for many years. They are a full-service, locally owned and operated community bank with 17 locations throughout the St. Louis area, including locations in Hannibal, Jerseyville, Granite City, as well as 2 locations in St. Charles. Plus, given today's headlines in the overall banking industry, it is reassuring to know Royal Banks of Missouri has the highest financial ratings in St. Louis for stability and strength. Royal Banks of Missouri is reinvesting in its hometown of University City. Join them Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025, as they open their doors to their new location at 8550 Olive Boulevard at the corner of Olive and McKnight. Stop by to see our refreshed look with the same exceptional Royal Bank service you know and trust. Learn more about our upcoming move in University City by visiting royalbanksofmo.com, royalbanksofmo.com today. That's Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank for your community.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fenceworks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL Fenceworks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck, knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit stlfenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the Capistrami. You've got hot pastrami, melty Swiss cheese, crunchy coleslaw, and zesty Russian dressing. What else do you need? I love Capriati's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
On the next, Larry Connors, USA.
My guest, the author of a new book, 1971, saying everything wrong is traced back to that date.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report, people, on this fancy Friday.
Read you. God, I'm good at it. I'm so spot on. Chord, shapes and
You know what really made this raid more fun then you might realize I think the FBI is still at John Bolton's home. Uh-huh. Busted and disgusted. And you can no longer be trusted. Oh, yeah. So what we're going to see, I'm sure over the weekend, there are going to be a bunch of drops telling us what exactly is going on. And I say it's about time that the FBI and some of the others in the Trump administration started leaking a little bit themselves so that we can start getting the full story and whatever else. This is war, and it should be, and it is constructive retribution, and it should be. And I have been appealing all along this whole week for a return to the Lincoln-esque activities of 1861, when in order to tame the rebellious, he arrested them, he charged them, he tribunaled them, and everything else. I'm not calling for the suspension of habeas corpus. What I am saying is that ultimately we have the same issue that Lincoln had in 1861, and that is that if we continue on and allow the rebellious to fester and exist, then we're never going to be able to survive into the next decade. But anyway, one of the things that made it more fun, this whole John Bolton raid, is George Conway. So George Conway, you guys remember him from a while back. He's this very unattractive, weird, fat ex-husband of Kellyanne Conway. And he was always on television during Trump's first term, complaining about President Trump and doing all this kind of thing. And that was when Kellyanne Conway was working for him. And George Conway was in a situation where he wanted to get a job in the Trump administration, and he was denied a job in the Trump administration. But his wife, Kellyanne, was kind of the right-hand man for President Trump. So, of course, that created mounds of jealousy and all kinds of stuff for George Conway. And so ultimately, finally, of course, and pleasantly, Kellyanne Conway just dumped the guy. She divorced him, which really was a long time coming because he was hurting her career too. So anyway, it just so happens that George Conway was already outside of John Bolton's house at the crack of dawn when the individuals from the FBI started knocking doors down. And so he wound up live streaming the whole thing. And there are some cuss words on there, so I'm not going to really present it to you. It's not that big of a deal anyway. But he was live streaming it, and there's this picture of him standing with his phone and pointing at John Bolton's house because, of course, they live on the same street. Again, you can't get much more swampy than that when it comes to being on the same street, like the two most terrible people on the planet living on the same street. I'm thinking two of, but at the same time, we've got so many of them out there. And this is from the Rolling Stone on the John Bolton story. The Rolling Stone decided they were going to do a story on this. The FBI, this is the headline on X from the Rolling Stone. The FBI targets former Trump official John Bolton because he made the president mad. And obviously judges who approve search warrants generally don't consider as one of the reasons why they're going to go ahead and sign off on it is that, well, Judge, he made the president mad. Well, okay, then let's go ahead and sign the search warrant. No, in order to get a search warrant, at least in this environment, it used to be kind of easy to go ahead and get a search warrant because you had Joe Biden and his administration conducting lawfare against President Trump. And so, this was an independent judge, and there's no place where there's any kind of context or anything else in the media. And it's really pretty crazy. I love one of the responses. This is, I can see you really have no idea how to handle what is coming for you all. I mean, and that is true. And we have so many people who I'm sure are shaking in their boots. By now, you have to believe that James Comey is scared half to death, because the reality is that you've got James Comey doing his videotapes and everything else with Taylor Swift about Taylor Swift. And there was something that was unexplainable about all that until you realize actually what really is going on here. And now he's kind of clinging to the Swifties like one would cling to a life raft. So it's crazy. All right. And finally, I really like Winsome Sears. I met her when I was at CPAC. I've seen her before, but I met her when I was at CPAC way back. And then I think it was back in the summertime or whatever. I can't remember when I was there. I was at the inauguration. What am I talking about? I was wondering because I was on Vic's show then. So that was back in January. She came to the inauguration, and she and her husband were sitting and having breakfast and everything else. I didn't want to bother them, but then she got up and I would say, "Hey, Winsome Sears, what's up?" And she's pretty cool. Introduced my daughter to her and everything else. So anyway, she was at an event where Winsome was giving a speech or whatever. And this woman had a sign. And she was, and Winsome Sears has been kind of at the forefront of this debate over trans kids in athletics and that kind of thing, and in schools in Virginia and beyond. And the sign being held by this woman is unbelievable. And this is a great example of how, when push comes to shove, normal, average, everyday liberals will be racist, will be bigoted towards people of faith. I mean, they'll pull out all the stops when they get desperate. And they'll call you names. They'll undermine you personally and everything else, but they'll never talk about the issues. So anyway, here's what her sign said. "Hey, Winsome, if trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain." I mean, I'm telling you, it doesn't get much creepier than that. And it just goes to show you. And of course, this is a typical white liberal woman who basically has her hair on fire and will say something so racist because she hates Winsome Sears. It's really super embarrassing. But anyway, this woman is wearing a shirt and it has a "We of Action Virginia," an indivisible group is what it's called. And of course, it's a situation where a lot of these people are paid rent-a individuals, whatever. So anyway, you public record check this. We of Action Virginia. It's a non-stock corporation with the Virginia State Corporation Commission, and they've been at it since 2017. And so most of the protests we're seeing with people out there, these are not organic protests. It's kind of like when you saw, I saw this in Brentwood during the whole Doge debate. I saw people lining the street outside the Brentwood Promenade with signs that were basically standing up for government waste and overspending and everything else. I'm thinking there can't be really any normal people who would go out there and literally protest cutting government waste. So now you know where these people are coming from. It's usually a rent-a-mob type of thing. These people are all getting paid, and so it should make you feel better that most normal people aren't like this. There aren't many normal people who will go out and demonstrate for especially women will demonstrate for boys who think they are girls competing in girl sports. There just aren't many normal people. Most normal people you talk to, even if they are even liberal, sometimes will tell you that's like, yeah, I don't think that's really cool. I wouldn't want somebody to lose a scholarship to a school, like for instance in track, because a boy beat them in the girls' track final. Most normal people are not like that. Just like I told you before, most gay people really are not wanting to sue somebody and demand they make the cake. And I dare say also, even though obviously this is all fodder and red meat for a lot of talkers and that kind of thing, there aren't a lot of people that care that much that Cracker Barrel's logo has changed. I mean, I know that you kind of feel like you maybe have to. Yeah, I can't believe that it's a gay menu now. It's like, no, it's not. And people will put up these things mocking the menus and that kind of thing. It's not a great look for the conservative movement to get all bent out of shape about the gay thing sometimes, because it's kind of like, yeah, okay, they're woke, whatever, but sometimes just relax, right? It became a big to-do on the internet, though, the whole Cracker Barrel thing. A lot of people don't even go there, and they're bitching about it. I think they're just remodeling the inside or whatever, but yeah. Somebody's like, they're gonna have trans waffles, and it's like, or the pancake. You can the pancake can reimagine itself as a waffle. It's kind of funny, but it's really not a big deal. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Check with you Monday. Ashlyn, thank you so much. And thank you all so much. Have a blessed one. This is Common Sense Radio.
For 93 years, R&R Ace Hardware in St. Clair has been your family-owned destination. We're more than hardware.